Hey guys, today I'm going to be making a mental health update. I actually haven't talked about this in months, which is very weird for me. I'm getting emotional already and this video isn't even emotional. What's wrong with me? Whew. It's like 90 degrees in my room. I've talked about this in another video, which I'm posting. You know me, I binge make my videos, so I'm making like 12 today, and then I eventually post them, but then my hair color is all different and my length. Anyways, mental health update. I don't even know what the last update was, to be honest. I wish that I would have rewatched it and I had time, but I don't even know why I didn't do that. I'm rude, apparently. I'm pretty sure the last time I talked about my mental health was related to running. Running saved my life. Running really got me out of that deep hole that I literally did not know I could get out of. I was in the hospital 3 times. I had so much therapy. I had individual therapy, I had group therapy, I had my psychiatrist, and I had a crisis interventionist. I feel like I had something else. I feel like there was another one. Whatever. I think that that's good. And it was a lot, but it was what I needed. And I'm glad that I got the help that I did, because I don't think that I would be standing here making a video right now. And I started running, blah blah. Long story short, I started feeling better. So I am on Wellbutrin, 150 milligrams maybe. It's an antidepressant, and I've been on it since the beginning of November, I believe. I didn't feel better for a while until I started running, which coincidentally is I think 4 or 5 weeks after I started Wellbutrin. So I think it coincided with each other well, because it takes about 6 weeks for the medication to start acting up and kicking in and feeling it. So having the medication kick in at the same time as me running was like a double happy thing happening in me, and I think it really helped me go back up. So for that I was really lucky. Funny to say lucky when you talk about like depression and almost dying, but like no big deal. So I've been on Wellbutrin ever since. I am very happy on Wellbutrin. I feel so much better. I'm smiling, and that sounds so weird to say, but it feels so weird to smile for real. Smiling for the public, like outside and like stuff like that, is one thing. Going in front of the camera and making jokes is another, but then sitting on my bed and just not being able to do anything is different. It's different. Laughing for the camera and like, it's not fake, it's genuine. I do laugh, I make jokes, ha ha ha, it's me. But it's like, you know, I'm not saying I'm a comedian at all, but I'm saying that I know that a lot of comedians are depressed, and the comedy comes from a dark place and it brings light out. That's what it does for me laughing and stuff like that. It helps me. But then when I'm done with that, what do I have left? And it was really hard for me, so I started watching America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent, and I started laughing so loud, and it was so weird to start laughing so loud. Anyways, so it hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies. Obviously, depression just doesn't go away. If I went off of Wellbutrin today, I don't know what would end up. I would like to remind you that last year I was on Effexor and went off in like May. It was the worst summer of my entire life. I was so messed up. It messed with me like crazy. I had anxiety nonstop. I couldn't sleep because of my anxiety, and it was ridiculous. So I am not planning on getting off of Wellbutrin. You're supposed to stay on it for at least a year, but honestly, I'm gonna see where I am at that year mark, because right now I am 100% okay with just staying on. I'm not even thinking about the future of me getting off of these medications, because I actually feel like I'm alive, and it's really hard to like explain what it's like to not feel like you're human and like alive, but I feel good. But that doesn't mean I don't have any off days, and I do, and those days are they're hard. I can get out of bed. I can. I can sit on my computer, but then it like hits me and it's just so bad, and I just want to like fucking cry and just like I feel so heavy, and I hate that it does that, and I wish I could just be like stable, but I'm not. And it's really like, this is my line. It goes like this is the line. This is happy, sad, obvi. So like I'm happy, I'm like happy, I'm happy. Then it goes down the line, and then it goes back, you know, normal, oh happy, normal. So right now it feels really weird. I feel really neutral, which is not an emotion or feeling that I like to have. I like to be higher up on that line, and I usually am when I'm outside working or something like that. But I think I'm at that neutral space when I have a lot of social interaction, and I don't like that I'm becoming one of those people that can't handle social interactions as much as I used to, but it's what's happening and I can't control it. I'm trying so hard, but when there's so many people around me and it's like non-stop and I can never be alone, it's really hard for me to deal with it. And I did have that for like a month and a half. Literally every single day I was with somebody, like every day. I could not be alone at all. So it's nice to just be alone sometimes and just do things for myself. And not that I can't do anything when I see people, it's just, it's a different feeling. Anyway, so mentally and mental health update I am a lot better. I actually feel like I have a future and I'm not stressing out. I feel like I'm looking at my life differently now, and I am running a lot. And honestly, yesterday I reorganized my entire room and it's beautiful to look at. And I put up my race bib from my last race in Vancouver, which I made like 19 videos about. And I just like, I looked at my wall, which is there, but you can't see it. And just seeing 5 medals there, I don't know why I get so emotional. I stared at the wall for like a month and a half and it had 4 medals, whatever. But then I put on the 5th medal and the 5th bib yesterday, and I just like, it gives me how the fuck did I do that? How did I do that? I was in the hospital 7 months ago. I almost died like multiple times. I don't know. It's still really hard for me to process what happened, and I try not to think about it, but I know that I have to think about it in order to be able to process it and get over it. But it's hard. But looking at my medals and my bibs and how much I've accomplished, it's insane that I did that by myself. I'll show you. I want to show you. So we're at an angle, but there it is. So here, February, March, April, May, June. All right, so in terms of a mental health update, that's where I'm at. Still very emotional. I feel like it's really hard for me to cry in moments that's appropriate to cry, but then in moments that's inappropriate to cry, like when I'm alone and watching America's Got Talent, I cry like crazy. I don't know, probably nothing to do with this. But anyways, I hope you have a great week. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions related to mental health or anything like that, please put them in the comments and I will answer as best as I can. And don't forget to like my page on Facebook, because it's easier for me to answer questions from Facebook. And if you like the page, then it's like you're following me, and it's like almost exactly like my personal Facebook, and I don't add anybody anymore on my personal Facebook. So that's where we're at right now. All right, yeah, mental health stuff, heavy. All right, have a great week.